Back again today for one more blah blah episode, let's call it that way. It's basically the truth. My name is Jill, your host for today, and recently I talked about Alceste, a French post-black gaze, shoegaze band that is very, very important to me. And their whole music had a very, very important impact on my personal musical growth and many other details that I will not go into that much on today. So if you want to know about that, you go ahead and check out that episode of Alceste. But recently, again, I felt very nostalgic, and I listened to some random records that I have not listened to for a while yet. They are not that old, to be fair, especially this band, the band Why We Are Here Today. But I gave their latest record another spin, and damn, I forgot how brilliantly executed their latest record was. And I actually saw them live in Antwerp in 2022. They were opening for Rollo Tomasi. And I'm talking about Phoenix, Arizona, American post-black gaze band Holy Fawn. So yes, I know what many of you might be thinking, but Holy Fawn is actually a post-rock band. And that's actually the truth. I mean, it's not wrong. But I think this band is so much more than just, first of all, rock, post-metal, whatever. The only thing that I can tell you is that on their latest record, for example, that landed in my top 10 of the year of 2022, Dimensional Beat, the record was called, and so I actually got a full spin again, and I'm still amazed on how good this record actually is and how underrated this band in particular is. So it's actually a quite recent band, like in terms of history. We are going back to 2015 when this band came along. And the interesting fact about this band is their portrayal of their music. It's very ethereal, it's very almost folk-ish kind of, without having those typical folk elements. Yet, and even they described it very often as very ghostly, you know. So, Holy Fawn, and actually the meaning behind Holy Fawn is basically the sacredness of nature and the presence of physics, connections, extra-dimensional realms outside of us and within us, which is always a good call for me. It goes into these very dreamy, vibey kind of things, which I'm obsessed with. And if they do, or they are considered a black gaze band, I mean, it's pretty obvious that they have some roots in those typical shoegaze element kind of things, like a shit ton of pedals and a shitload of reverb, delay, a lot of ambience, and basically just, I mean, it's cruel to say it, but their music is super sad, actually, and sad but weirdly uplifting. And I know that a good friend of mine, he will probably agree, the Metal Inspector, we had this discussion of can music be sad and weirdly uplifting, or beautifully weirdly uplifting? And I think that's the case with Holy Fawn. I mean, their vocalist and guitarist Ryan Osterman speaks for himself. He's like, in my opinion, one of the best frontmans of today's metal bands. Anyway, this whole vibe that this band just gives away is just like totally my thing. And I discovered them through their actually earlier things, like the record Death Spells that came out in 2018, so it's actually not that long ago. And their song Arrows, which is like, to some it might sound very boring, I get it, because it can be very like monotone and repetitive, but I think that's the whole deal with this kind of music. It's just too easy to just push them into run drawer and call it black gaze or whatever, or even shoegaze. I mean, shoegaze is one thing, an 80s movement that for some reason recently, like 10, 15 years ago, became important again in the metal scene, and many bands incorporated these elements, and I think Holy Fawn is definitely one of these bands, but it's also very doomy and dark and gloomy. It's like the perfect, and again, I'm gonna say it because I had this experience this morning once more. So I think their music is best listened to on your own. Even the concert, I have to say that the concert was pretty tight, was pretty good, and I was blown away by their presence on stage. But I think it's one of these bands that you need to listen to when you are probably having a bad day, or a bad week, or for some bad months, who knows, bad years. I listened to the whole record this morning while hiking, and it felt good, man. It felt really good, like just being weak to some extent, and having this I wouldn't necessarily say existential crisis, but things that are happening on a daily basis that impact us, and then this kind of music just sticks to you and speaks to you, and it's really amazing. And to me, Dimensional Bleed remains one of the most influential records to this day, and it still keeps spinning and spinning and spinning, and it doesn't get boring. It's just so filled with a lot of elemental things, like those typical post-rock themes, clean vocals, harsher vocals, and then those very soft and detailed electronic elements which give this whole record another vibe. It was already present on Death Spells, the earlier record, and even on the EP, The Black Moon, that came out in 2020. And I think with Dimensional Bleed, they just took it a step ahead, and they thought like, we'll just go all aboard with this psychedelic kind of vibe, and but in a ghostly way. It doesn't make sense what I'm saying, but anyway, I get it. Maybe some of you will get it too, and I highly suggest that you listen to Holy Fawn, even though this episode will probably be a very short one, but I just had to share this thing that I've been going through with this band. I mean, it's even though I know what I want to say, it's very hard to describe, because it's anything that is like ethereal music or very close to ethereal music can be exhausting to some, boring to others, and very personal to even lesser few than myself. And I mean, there are several bands out there that do this particular kind of music, but not necessarily good. And I consider Holy Fawn to be one of these bands that we all need to watch out for, because I think they only started with their expressionism and their vibe of like, it's okay, the message like it's okay to be fragile and hurt and whatever, and just accept it the way things evolve, and just stick with it. And it sounds very cringe, but don't give up, kind of a thing. And I don't know, it's just the whole vibe of the record is, I'm sad, but it's okay to be sad. It's nice to be sad. And it's very like, it heals. It's kind of healing listening to Holy Fawn. It's like those typical records, like again, like Sylvain is a very good example for these bands that can very help you heal. Not necessarily Cannibal Corpse. I'm not saying the contrary. Some people might find a relief in this particular band, but to me, again, since I discovered Holy Fawn, they've been like a big help, to be fair, and a big inspiration also on my personal musical development. I mean, just as an example, I will give you the second title of Dimensional Bleed. Is called Death is Relief, because it basically is. we are all, slowly but surely dying in a way. And it sounds very philosophical, but I mean, that's actually the harsh truth. There is. We are all going to die in one way or another. Quite kind of sad, and I think the whole record gives this whole vibe another push. I sound super emo today. I'm not, to be fair. I just want to get into that mood, you know, to explain this record and especially this band. Because again, usually with these uncovered episodes, we try to uncover bands that have a certain history, good or bad, and definitely more records. But let's be honest here. I mean, we want to talk about stuff that we enjoy, or in that case, I want to talk about stuff that I enjoy a lot. And maybe some of you out there will say, this sounds interesting to me because I'm going through a phase or whatever. And I just want to get through a phase and maybe even listen to stuff I didn't know before, and maybe it helps in some way or another. So if it does, let me know. And if you're if you're interested in Holy Fawn and what they do, then I highly suggest checking them out. And I mean, that was basically just a message to you out there that this band is super important. It's going to be probably the last shoegaze band for a while because, spring is on its way, or it's almost there. Maybe by the time this comes out, it will already be spring. So it's time to get out of the moody phase and put on some happier tunes, even though those tunes are very nice as well. In any case, thanks again for listening and for subscribing and liking all our stuff and whatever, because it was really a crazy experience so far. And I would say hear you again very soon here at Comedy, Luxembourg's finest metal podcast. Bye bye.